afternoon or good morning. This is Mr. Iorio, one of the Visalia music teachers, and I'm here to show you the beginning steps of playing a saxophone. The saxophone we recommend for 5th grade students to start with, those that are interested in playing the saxophone, is called the alto saxophone. There is a family of saxophones, soprano, alto, tenor, baritone saxophones, but for 5th graders, the most common and the size that is the easiest for them to handle is the alto saxophone. The saxophone comes in basically 3 pieces. You have the main body of the saxophone. You have what is called the neck of the saxophone, which attaches to the main body of the saxophone. And you have the mouthpiece, and the mouthpiece is the part that you will blow into. And the mouthpiece fits on the end of the neck. And that's what a saxophone looks like. Now, before I play a saxophone, or before I recommend anyone playing a saxophone, I think it's a good idea to, if you can, to wash your hands, because as you see, I'm putting my hands on the saxophone in different places. And if you can, to rinse out your mouth, because you are going to be blowing into the saxophone, and whatever you eat usually ends up being blown into your instrument. And so for the protection of your instrument, and also so that it plays the best that it can, I recommend that you wash your mouth out, clean your hands. It protects the instrument, and it keeps the instrument cleaner and lets it play to its best ability. There is another part that we use to play the saxophone, and that is called the reed. And this is a saxophone reed. It's a little piece of wood. It's made out of bamboo. It's real thin on one end. And that reed is going to go onto the mouthpiece of the saxophone. Let me put it on the mouthpiece for you. The mouthpiece on one side has an opening, just a hole. And if I blew into it, the only sound I get is air. So we need something to make the air vibrate in order to create a sound. And a saxophone, like a clarinet, uses a reed. And you want to wet the reed first. You actually lay the reed on your tongue, both the top and the bottom of the reed. Because if the reed is dry, it will tend to squeak when you first start to play. Then I place the reed on the mouthpiece. It covers up that hole. And I recommend that you let your teacher at school look at how you have the reed placed so they can show you exactly where it fits. But I do have a little opening at the tip between the mouthpiece and the reed. And I'm going to blow air through there. And that reed is going to vibrate back and forth like that, and it makes the air vibrate going through the saxophone itself, and that creates a sound. One other piece we use when we play the saxophone, just to help us hold it, is a neck strap. Please do not try to play a saxophone without a neck strap. It goes around your neck, and it clips onto the saxophone to help you actually hold the saxophone. That's the sound of a saxophone. I'm blowing air through the mouthpiece. The air is traveling down through the neck and down through the body of the saxophone. There are different, we call them keys on a saxophone that you press up and down. And I'll need a little close in here. Your right thumb All it's used for to play the saxophone is to help you hold it. And there's a hook down towards the bottom that you put your right thumb on, and that helps you hold the saxophone. Your left thumb rests on this. On my saxophone, it's black. On most saxophones, it's black. On this, it's not a key. It's just a place for your thumb to rest on. And there's where your two thumbs help you hold it. Your left hand, up on top of the saxophone, you will notice there are 4 keys. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we use just our first 3 fingers. Your first finger plays the top key. Then the second key is a smaller key, and you do not, I repeat, you do not put a finger on that key. You skip that one. Your middle finger goes on the next key. Your ring finger goes on the bottom key. You never want to put a finger pressing this key. 1, skip the small one. 2, 3. We're not going to be using our little finger right now. My right hand, there are 3 keys on the bottom of the saxophone. 1, 2, 3. We will not use these when we first start to play our first few notes, but your finger should lay just on top of those keys, not pressing them down at the present time. In your book, starting on page 6, line number 1, that's the first note we will be playing. And in the saxophone book, on line 1, page 6, you will notice it says it's a B note. And there's a chart there that shows you which finger to press down. And it says to press your first finger of your left hand down on that top key. And that's the B note. That's the first note we will play. It will sound like this. Again. The next line, you have a note that's called the A note. Your first finger stays down. Remember to skip that small key. Press actually the third key down. That's the A note. Then line number 4 shows you your third note, and that's having your first middle finger and then your ring finger pressing down the bottom key on the top. That's the first 3 notes we will play on the saxophone: the B note, the A note, and the G note. Now let me talk just a little bit about how I place my mouth on the mouthpiece in order to make the sound. You curl your bottom lip over your bottom teeth. You place the mouthpiece so that the reed is resting, let me turn sideways, resting on your bottom lip. And my top teeth go on top of the mouthpiece. And then it's called an embouchure, how I form my mouth around the mouthpiece. The reed rests on my bottom lip, my top teeth on top of the mouthpiece. I form my mouth so that I don't let any air leak out when I blow. And then you blow air through the mouthpiece. Let me do it facing you. Curl my bottom lip over my bottom teeth, rest my reed on my lip. Top teeth actually are on top of the mouthpiece. Close my mouth. And I don't let any air leak as I blow. You shouldn't have to blow real hard to get a sound out of a saxophone. One other thing that will help you get a good sound, I forgot about this, is how we sit and prepare ourselves to play. Now, if you can see me, I am not resting my back against the back of the chair. There is space between my back and the back of the chair. You don't want to slump and lean way back in the chair like this. That looks sloppy, and it actually makes you sound sloppy when you play your instrument. You want to be sitting up towards the front of the chair, feet on the floor, the saxophone either towards your side or it can be in front of you. Either way. My right thumb is on the hook. My left thumb's on the button up on top. The B note, we press the first key. The A note, remember you skip that second key. Now there's 2 fingers down. And the G note, you're pressing the bottom key in the top section of the saxophone. Proper sitting position, feet on the floor, up, sitting towards the front of the chair, not leaning against the back, sitting straight up. Now, when you're through playing, I recommend you take off the mouthpiece. You will notice there's a piece of cork on the end of the neck. And we keep that lubricated by using what's called cork grease. And you should have a tube of cork grease with your saxophone. You put a little bit of the grease on this cork, and you actually rub it in with your fingers. And that lets you slip the mouthpiece on easier and take it off easier. When you're through playing, you want to take the reed off the mouthpiece. I'm not sure I even have a swab with mine right now. You should have a cleaning swab. It is a piece of cloth that is on a string. You run it through your mouthpiece, and it dries off any moisture that has built up inside as you were playing. Please clean your mouthpiece, hopefully every time you have played. I've seen mouthpieces that actually have mold growing inside, and you don't want to put a mouthpiece that's got mold growing inside it in your mouth in order to play your instrument. You take the neck off of your saxophone. You can run the swab through the neck, but be a little careful with it because the neck is not real wide. It's not real wide open. But carefully draw the swab, cleaning swab through your neck. And you can do the same with your saxophone. You can, that string on the cleaning cloth will fit through where you could pull it out. You can drop it in either end. Probably easier if you drop it in the large end. You turn it over and then pull it out this way. There are some saxophones that they will have what are called pad savers. It looks like a big fuzzy stick that fits inside the saxophone when you're not playing, and that helps dry the inside of the saxophone while you're not using it. The outside of the saxophone, what I recommend is just a soft cloth. A piece of an old t-shirt works really well, just to wipe your fingerprints off the saxophone. The better condition and the cleaner your saxophone is, the better sound you'll be able to make out of your instrument, out of your saxophone. The longer they will last. I have a saxophone I've had for 30 years. That's as good as the first day I ever bought it, but I've taken good care of it. So,
what about if it gets stuck on the inside?
If anything gets stuck on the inside of your saxophone, bring it to your teacher. Don't try to force something where you might do some damage to your instrument. If you have any questions about any part, if something looks loose on your instrument, bring it to your teacher. Sometimes, most all the music teachers have a screwdriver. Sometimes they could fix things just right on the spot, real easy. Sometimes it may take more work. They may tell you you'll have to take it to the music store to get it repaired or fixed. But let the music teacher see it first. Don't leave your instrument at home and say there's something wrong with my instrument. Bring it to school so your teacher can see it, so you don't waste time and lose time of not having your instrument when you need it. Okay, I hope you enjoy starting to play the saxophone, and I hope you have a very good year. Thank you.